You're listening to Blast Podcasting, episode 14.
Did Batman just say Cowabunga? Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Blast Podcasting. This is Anthony.
And this is Xander. And Anthony, my gosh, this episode I am so excited to be covering. I'm so glad we get to talk about this because we're going to be talking about some Ninja Turtles, but not just any Ninja Turtles, but Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah, this isn't going to be a downer like last episode.
yeah. This is going to be a little bit more lighthearted, not so like mind crazy like Evangelion was. But before we get into it, I do want to talk about something Ninja Turtle based. First off, I want to ask you, Anthony, who is your favorite Ninja Turtle? I've never asked you this.
Leonardo.
Same.
Yeah.
Leonardo is my favorite Ninja Turtle. I liked him as a kid just because he had two swords.
I liked him because he was a leader.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. Ninja Turtles. That's something. There's something that has evolved, and it's funny because some people are like, you guys still like Ninja Turtles. It's kind of grown up a little bit, I suppose.
Well, it's funny because it started out as a very dark comic that was based off Daredevil. It started off like that, and then, of course, it got really lighthearted during the 80s cartoons, and then the first movie came out, and the first movie was actually more based off the comics, and it was a little darker, and it was just like, Ninja Turtles is just one of those things that every generation has almost like their own Ninja Turtles. That makes any sense.
Pretty much. I saw the movie. I don't know why I remember this. I'm 36, so let's see. I was 7. And I saw Easter of 1990, around the time it came out in the theaters. And I remember, like as a kid, I was expecting the goofiness, and it was not a goofy movie. It's a fucking dark film.
Yeah.
It's a very dark film.
Yeah, I mean, you got kids like buying cigarettes and stuff.
And then basically Splinter getting tortured by the Foot Clan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all fucked up. And it's one of those, it's kind of like akin, this is ironic because this is Batman related. It's kind of akin when I was 10 years old. My best friend's older brother had a copy of The Killing Joke. So I was familiar with Batman, the animated series, which was dark in its own right, but not like The Killing Joke. It's kind of like akin to reading The Killing Joke when you're 10.
Yeah. And
seeing a more mature version of something that you love as a kid. It's that type of thing.
I wonder how many kids had like the oh my god face when they heard Ralph yell damn when he lost his sigh.
Yeah.
But I do have a really funny story about the Ninja Turtles movies. Because the Ninja Turtle movies were actually filmed in my town. They were filmed
Wait, real quick. You are not allowed to talk about the third one though.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to talk about the third one.
Okay, good. We do not speak that movie's name, right?
Right. But they were all filmed here in Wilmington. And I actually got to meet a Ninja Turtle. It's a really funny story. Like what happened was I had food poisoning and had to go to hospital. And I was throwing up. I think I had like Taco Bell or something probably. But anyway, I was like throwing up. I was getting really sick, and the doctor had to give me a shot to stop me from vomiting. And he gives me a shot, and the doctor's like, "Oh, you're doing so good." And he kind of looks over to the corner. And he was like, "Even Ninja Turtles get sick." And I look over, and in the stretcher is Raphael, and he gives me a thumbs up. Like the actual stunt guy was still in the Ninja Turtle outfit. And then I found out what exactly scene that was that he got injured at. This is really crazy because I work at Pachinko World. The owner of Pachinko World, Leo, he worked on the movie. He worked on Secret of the Ooze. And this was during that time the Secret of the Ooze was out.
Right.
So I told him my story. And he was like, well, you know what happened, right? And I'm like, what? And he was like, you remember that scene in Secret of the Ooze when all the turtles got put in that net and they were like flung up in the air? You know what scene I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They got flung up in the air, and what happened was the safety went out and the net fell. So all the stunt guys actually hit the ground. The guy who played Ralph injured his leg, and he had sent to the hospital. So that scene contributed to me seeing an actual Ninja Turtle. Like, isn't that insane?
I would have loved that, but I was stuck here in Colorado, so.
But yeah,
But no, that's fucking cool though that you saw him at the doctor's office or wherever.
yeah, it was insane. And I mean, like, Wilmington, North Carolina. I mean, we had a lot of movies filmed here, from Ninja Turtles to The Crow to, of course, Iron Man 3, Cat's Eye, which is a really underrated horror movie, Maximum Overdrive, and another movie that we don't really speak too much of, but the Super Mario Brothers movie was filmed here in Wilmington.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's basically what I wanted to talk about with that. And well, go ahead.
It came out at the same time as that third Ninja Turtles movie.
Oh, that was such a weird year, wasn't it?
Yeah, but then Jurassic Park came out and all was well with the world.
Yes. But one of the things I was going to mention too with Ninja Turtles and comics is there's a new arc going on in the Ninja Turtles comics, and it is so popular right now that the first edition's out of print. It's already out of print, and that's introducing a fifth Ninja Turtle, another female Ninja Turtle. Because, of course, there was another female that was related to a television show that we don't talk about, The Next Mutation.
The Next Mutation. You know what? Real quick, I have to talk about it for a second because of how weird it was. Yeah. Remember the bad guy with some dragon thing?
Yeah.
They killed off Shredder in the first episode, and it's some dragon thing. And I remember the episodes were exactly like Power Rangers. He would send like a new monster after him.
Well, like they didn't just kill off Shredder. Like Shredder became like homeless. He became like a bum.
Wait, what?
He was like a bum. Yeah, it was so weird. Like he got stripped of all of his powers, and he just became a bum. I was like, okay,
Shredder the bum.
Yeah, but the Next Mutation had a lot of similarities to Power Rangers because it was done by Saban.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I remember they did have that one collaboration episode with Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers, Lost in Space, which that's another comic book arc that's about to come out. Is they're about to come out with Ninja Turtles / Power Rangers, about to come out with that comic. But
it's probably better than that episode though.
Oh yeah. But this comic is interesting because they introduced a fifth turtle. Her name's I think her name's like Janika, but they call her like Jenny for short. But here's the thing, like right now, Splinter killed Shredder. Like they had their battle. Splinter killed Shredder. Splinter is the owner of the Foot Clan. And Splinter's like, okay, well now since I'm running the Foot Clan, I'm going to try to make it more balanced. I'm going to try to do good, try to make it like a good, like bring honor to the Foot Clan. But since he's in power, he's actually becoming more corrupt, and he's actually becoming, some people are saying, more ruthless than Shredder, which is really interesting. So you got that, and then Janika was one of the head generals of the Foot Clan who at one time tried to kill Splinter. And I haven't read the comic, but I've been following it on news articles, and apparently something happened. She got stabbed. She's bleeding to death. The Turtles decide to save her by giving her a blood transfusion, and their blood, with her blood, mutates her into a new Ninja Turtle. So
okay,
yeah.
Well, I'll say this. I have read the first, I think, 4 or 5 volumes of the IDW comic.
Mm-hmm.
Which you're talking about, the IDW comic, which is really fucking good. The thing with the IDW comic book is that it changes the lore of the Turtles, but doesn't change the lore, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like one of the things it does is it's more spiritual, because in if you watch the cartoon or the original series, it's like, oh, some kid was fucking Splinter was a rat for his master, was killed by Shredder, he lived underground, and then some kids spilled some turtles and they all got hit by ooze, and then they became a family.
Yeah.
The IDW comic has a lot more depth than that. And I'm not kidding if you haven't read it. Essentially what happens is that the turtles are actually Splinter's legitimate children. How the fuck does that... You know about this, right?
A little bit, yeah. But, yeah, enlighten some of the listeners, definitely.
Okay, so... in the IDW comic, the Foot Clan dates back to essentially feudal Japan. And, of course, the rivalry between Splinter and Shredder is there. But I forgot exactly the reasons, but Shredder becomes leader of the Foot Clan and Splinter and his children, his wife is killed. and his children, they flee. And then eventually they get caught one day and they get executed, all of them. But they get reincarnated into these lab turtles and splinter into a rat. And and then during the, April O'Neil is the little labs assistant, and I forgot what. It's been a little while since I read these, but something happens and they get mutated.
Huh. See, that sounds a lot better than Michael Bay's Splinter, who just found a kung fu book and read it and was like, oh, I know kung fu.
Yeah, that movie wasn't too bad though.
It really wasn't. I think with the Michael Bay movies, I think they get a lot of hate because it's Michael Bay. Of course, he didn't direct it; he was just a producer. But I will say this: what I like about the Bay movie Turtles, they're not perfect by all means, but don't quote me on that. But what I like about them is they have the campiness and the action of the '80s cartoon.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because, I mean, especially the second one. The first one had a lot of flaws, but the second one with Crane, Bebop, Rocksteady, it felt like a live-action 80s Ninja Turtles cartoon.
Oh, that was the live-action movie that I wanted as a kid.
Yeah, same. I watched it, I'm like, this is it.
You know what's funny, because those two movies, what's weird about them is they harken so much back to the cartoon. Like, remember, April's boss from the cartoon, and that little sleazy fucking reporter, that snooty one in the pink shirt, remember him?
Yeah.
They were both in those movies, except Whoopi Goldberg played the boss in the first one, and then what's his face? Will Arnett, he voices Batman in the Lego Batman movies. He plays the snooty sort of reporter in those movies. But those movies were good. I liked them.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
Like I was gonna say, they definitely had some flaws, especially the first one. I mean, the first one was very, more Bayism was in the first one than the second one.
Yeah, for sure. Let's also talk about real quick the 2007 animated film, the CG one.
Yes, that is so good. It is. I saw that one in theater, and what was so funny was my friend Mikey and I, we went and saw it. It was like a matinee on a Sunday, and I remember we were like the oldest dudes there. Everyone else was kids, and my friend Mikey can't stand kids. He cannot stand kids at all. And there was a trailer where there was a trailer for something that was coming out, and it had like a fart joke in it. So it was like this little fart sound, and all the kids start laughing, and he's like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Dude, we're in our 20s watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We can't complain about kids right now."
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. Like, dude, we were in our mid-20s. He was like, dude.
And now I'm in my almost late 30s, and you're in your early 30s, right?
Yeah.
And we're talking about fucking Ninja Turtles, so there you go.
Yeah.
Change.
Did you ever watch the Nickelodeon TMNT, the CG one?
Yes, that's very good.
It's so good.
I haven't seen the new one though.
Yeah, I haven't seen the brand new one. I don't like the animation style to that one.
Yeah, and they did some weird stuff where the bad guy's an evil CEO voiced by John Cena. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hold on. Let's talk about the TV series real quick, because we have the original 1987 series, which, I'll be honest, it has not aged well.
It hasn't.
It's pretty bad. But back then it was the shit. Then we had the Next Mutation, which we don't speak of. Then we had the 2002 or 2003 series.
Oh yeah, the Fox. What was it, like the 4Kids TV one?
Mm-hmm. And that series is really good. And it gets overlooked too. And that one lasted about 10 seasons.
Yeah, it was really good. It had a shitty intro though. I hated the intro to that one.
Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. God, I hated that intro, but it was so good.
And it was the first one that introduced the idea of the multiverse to the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Because the last episode was that huge crossover.
And also it was the one that actually had a more comic a better comic representation of Baxter Stockman, because he was a black guy in that one, like in the comics.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he becomes like a disembodied head in the comics too.
Mm-hmm.
No, not a fly.
Yeah.
so there's that one, and then there's the 2013 series, and now this new series. It's crazy because Ninja Turtles is still alive and well, but I think right now the best incarnation is the IDW comics.
Yeah.
And it's not hard to find the Mirage comics either.
Mm-hmm.
You can find those, the original Mirage comics. Those are pretty gritty though. So if you read those, you'll get pretty polarized by them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, those were pretty dark.
But the IDW comics, though, in their own right, are pretty grown up too. It's kind of like I was telling you the other day. DC in 2012, they did a similar thing with the He-Man comics, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
And they grew that series up because it's people get beheaded. There's people who sleep together, all kind. Like they took, because if you watch if you want to talk about not aging well, the He-Man TV series, holy shit.
Well, I mean, and you gotta look at a lot of those old 80s cartoons, like Ninja Turtles, He-Man, Transformers, G.I. Joe. All those shows, the reason why they don't age too well compared to when we watched them when they were kids, because essentially all those cartoons were long-ass toy commercials.
Yeah, they were infomercials.
Yeah, they were just there to sell action figures. And
they always... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, which that will go into a little bit of actually our main topic when we get into that, because there's something I do... There's one thing I didn't care for about Batman vs. Superman. I'm sorry, not Batman vs. Superman. Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that kind of segues way into that. But what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, they were basically long commercials, but a lot of reboots of these series work. Like He-Man, let me go back to He-Man for a second. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen the 2002 series?
I haven't.
You have?
No,
you need to watch the 2002 He-Man series.
I haven't watched that.
It's on YouTube. I own...
I was about to say I haven't watched that or Thunder or like the last Carnation of Thundercats. I didn't watch that either. I heard that was really good.
I heard that was good too. The 2002 He-Man, those are on YouTube. You should watch them. The only thing that sucks about them is they got cut short. They got cut in the second season. But I do own all of them on DVD, and I don't own very many things on DVD because, I'm not much of a collector. Ironic that I bring that up. But yeah, the He-Man 2002 reboot was really good. And they haven't really done anything on TV. The only thing that's going on is the comic book, and DC's still doing that. They did do the Thundercats crossover with He-Man, which was really good.
Mm.
And then they did He-Man. I mean, the Ninja Turtles aren't the only ones that have been in the DC universe. I have the graphic novel He-Man and the Masters Universe versus DC Universe. Instead of just Batman's versus it's versus DC Universe. So.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, so maybe with, this new DC collaboration, we could see He-Man and Ninja Turtles.
That'd be wild.
Well, I mean, they fucking did Archie and Predator.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. Is like, I think the funny thing about Ninja Turtles, I think they just work very well with just about anything that gets thrown at them, because they're so... The characters in Ninja Turtles are so versatile,
mm-hmm.
and they're so iconic. I mean, that's like the DC the fighting game that came out. Help me out with this.
Injustice 2. Yes, yeah. I forgot they were in Injustice 2.
Yeah, and it worked perfectly. It's like, okay, yeah, they're in Injustice.
Yeah, I completely forgot. Yeah, they're in Injustice 2, and they work well for that game.
Yeah. But getting into the actual movie that we're doing this podcast mm-hmm. on, because I would say first and foremost that, like, I would tell a lot of people, I'm like, have you seen Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? First off, people are very confused. And secondly, a lot of people think of Batman versus Ninja Turtles, and they're thinking that this is like a very, very kiddie sort of thing. They're like, that's
no.
Yeah, I'm like, wait up. Which we have to go back a little bit. Of course, Batman and Ninja Turtles have been in comics since 2015. They had their own collaboration with that. So it wasn't too crazy to see it come out
right
as a motion picture. I'm like, okay, that's cool. But
I read it. It's good. It's good.
And the thing about it is like, this is not a kid's cartoon whatsoever.
I thought it was when you I thought it would be an enjoyable kids cartoon.
Yeah.
But I mean, people get decapitated, impaled, a guy gets a fucking ninja star in his face. I mean, it's pretty fucked. Oh yeah, Xander, we always forget this because you and I really don't give a shit. Spoilers.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's been out for a while, and I mean, you guys can watch it online. I mean, it's it's definitely going to be spoilers here, but
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about the actual story. Like, what's really going on is, of course, the Foot Clan is in Gotham City. They're trying to take over these generators, and you find out that Shredder's helping out Ra's al Ghul to pretty much he's helping out Ra's al Ghul to turn Gotham into mutants to destroy their own city. And of course, Shredder's wanting to get into the freaking lake of immortality. I can't remember the name of it right now.
The Lazarus Pit.
Yeah, trying to get into the Lazarus Pit. So that's pretty much it. When it comes to story, one of the things that I will say that I wanted to talk about was the Easter eggs. I noticed a lot of Easter eggs in this show, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Give me a couple though.
Okay, so I actually wrote some notes down. So one of the first Easter eggs that I noticed when I watched it was the entrance of Shredder. When he came down slowly, when Shredder's inside the place to get the generator, Batman shows up, and the movie kind of starts off. The first big fight is Shredder versus Batman, and when Shredder enters, he has that slow drop down, very reminiscent of the first Ninja Turtles movie.
Okay.
Okay, and another one is there's a scene when Mikey and Ralph and Robin are fighting Mr. Freeze, and there's a part where he's like shooting, like Mr. Freeze shooting something, and like Michelangelo's using his nunchucks. He does the same exact form and same exact move as the intro from the 80s cartoon.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah, he does do that.
And here's another good one that I thought you would like. Did you notice that when Batgirl defeated Joker, because Joker's in this, when she defeats Joker, and his teeth get knocked out, she takes a selfie with him, and I'm like, that's totally almost like a flip on the Killing Joke right there.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. I didn't think about it. That's pretty good. Yeah, it is a flip on the Killing Joke.
Yeah, because she was like, say cheese, and he's like sitting there with no teeth. I'm like, oh, dude. So it was like little things like that. Also,
I got one for you.
Okay.
Did you notice what was on the Ooze label when Shredder that handed it to the Joker in Arkham Asylum?
Yeah, it was wasn't it the same initials that was in the original shows, the TG whatever it's called, like I was gonna say TGIF, but that's not it.
TCIRI.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in the that name I think popped up in Secret of the Ooze.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also in the cartoon.
Yep.
The 2012 cartoon. So that's another Easter egg. It seemed like there was more Turtles Easter egg than DC Easter eggs.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of the Easter eggs when it came to DC, of course, is they were really pushing a lot of Easter eggs from the Batman animated series. Like Batman, his Batmobile was straight up from the animated series, which I thought was really cool.
And his costume was the Neil Adams costume from the 70s.
Yeah, which I thought was a really interesting take. Because we don't see a lot of modern Batman in cartoons or movies that have that classic blue and gray pattern. We don't see that a whole lot.
No, we haven't. We haven't seen that pattern in a long time. But yeah, that's the 70s costume.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, because I haven't seen I've seen a couple of the DC animated movies, but not all of them. But I feel like this was one of the first for me anyway that Robin wasn't Dick Grayson.
Oh, the Damian Wayne.
Yeah.
Robin. Oh, I think. Well, I think since about maybe 2014, they've
Mm-hmm.
had the Damian Wayne
Okay.
Robin in there. Yeah, they've had him in a ton of the movies. They have him in the Teen Titans films. They
Mm-hmm.
have him in Batman vs Ninja, Batman vs Robin. Yeah, the Damian Wayne Bat Robin is in pretty much the DC movies from about 2014, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, they've used that Robin a lot.
Yeah, because I was sitting there thinking because I saw him, when they first introduced Robin, he's spying, and he's got the hood up, and I'm like, well, I don't. I was like, I wonder if that's Dick Grayson. And then when he was fighting, and I loved it when he was fighting with the turtles, and he took Donatello's bow staff and started using that, and I was like, well, it's not Jason Todd. I don't think it's Jay. But once he's called Batman Father, I'm like, oh shit, it's Damien. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's the Damian Wayne one. You got to watch more of those DC animated films, dude.
They're so good.
Most of them, pretty much 90% of them are good. I even don't mind Killing Joke, although that's the one I have major issues with the most.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me go on real quick. You've seen Killing Joke, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The first half of that movie is not necessary.
Right. Yeah. The first half of the movie, is like, it's like, what the hell am I watching?
Yeah, I get why they did it. They could have done a better job because it doesn't really connect with the other half at all.
Mm-mm.
It is filler. Literally, it is the definition of filler. But the second half, the actual adaptation is fucking spot on and good. I wouldn't have minded, dude. I'll be honest. If they would have made that into a half-hour film with just the adaptation, I would not have minded it. But I get kind of why they wanted to do it.
Yeah, and I do have to give a huge kudos to I hope I'm saying his name right. Troy Barker.
Troy Baker.
Troy Baker, because he does the voice of Batman and the Joker.
Yes, he does.
And he sounds so much like Kevin Conroy.
And he sounds so much like Mark Hamill.
Yeah. Well, see, here's the thing. Like, with his Mark Hamill Joker, I can spot his Mark Hamill Joker because he played Joker in Batman Arkham Origins. He played the Joker on that. And there's a little bit of differences between him and Mark Hamill. Especially older Mark Hamill.
Right.
Because older Mark Hamill's Joker sounds a lot more wispy and raspy, and the laughs are a little different, where he sounds a little bit more like the animated series version Joker. Very, very much so. But the guy did such a great job. I mean, if you didn't know that wasn't Kevin Conroy, you would have thought it was.
Troy Baker is one of the best voice actors out there.
I agree.
Mean, hands down, he's done so much. The first time I ever heard Troy Baker was in Tales of Vesperia. Real quick, I got to tell you this, though. The only thing that kind of bugs me about, how they re-released Tales of Vesperia? This is about Troy Baker.
Yeah.
Okay, so the re-release of Tales of Vesperia is a port of the PS3 enhanced version that we never got, right?
Right.
There's added dialogue. They got every actor to record lines except Troy Baker. So what's weird about it is that the main character, Yuri, is still voiced by Troy Baker with the original lines, but then with the new lines, this new guy comes in. So sometimes sometimes you can tell the difference.
Oh, that's not good.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not horrible, and you can still play the game in Japanese. I mean, it's not. It doesn't ruin it. Like the good guy does. The new guy does it. I think they should have. Like, I love Troy Baker's performance, and I get why they wanted to keep it. But I personally think they maybe should have had the new guy record it because he doesn't do a bad job. Yeah. It's just so jarring because you got two voice actors voicing it, and sometimes there'll be a line by Troy Baker and there'll be a line by the new guy. That's what's weird about it, not the performance itself. Yeah,
because I mean, either way, I mean, like I said, he does such a great job of the Joker, but regardless, there are some differences, and it's one of those things. Like if you pay attention a lot with voices, because I mean, I love voice acting, so I pay a lot of attention to voice actors and their voices and how they have certain inflections and stuff like that. And with that being said, I think that's how I noticed so much about him versus Mark Hamill's Joker. I was like,
gotcha.
Yeah, but What did you think about the overall story of the movie? Do you think the crossover, the way they pushed it, did you feel like it was natural? Did you feel like it was kind of like a forced thing about having the Turtles in Gotham City?
No, it felt good. I mean, it made sense, with their interactions between the characters and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Raphael being aggressive and all that. I have read that original crossover.
Yeah.
I know they made a sequel to it, which I don't think I've read, but I read the original crossover. And I will tell you that it is similar in some ways to that original crossover.
Mm-hmm.
And I think both of those do a great job of making those characters interact in ways that didn't feel forced.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's formulaic. It follows, like most crossovers follow this. Two characters from two different universes or whatever, they go in, they have a common enemy, but they see each other as enemies, blah, blah, blah. They fight and become foes. They become friends at the end, right?
Yeah.
But more often than not, here's the thing. As tired as that formula may seem, for whatever reason, it just works over and over and over again. Because when done right, and it works well in this one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you see the obvious, like, there's even scenes that are comedic that make sense, like the scene where Alfred, he goes up and he buys the pizza, remember?
Yeah.
And he's all irritated. He's like, I offered to make these guys a gourmet meal, but they want pizza.
Yeah.
So, like, interactions like that make sense.
Yeah, one of the things that I feel like is always kind of, maybe this is just because I've gotten older, one of the things I've always felt like the kind of the calluses in Ninja Turtles is Michelangelo. Because sometimes Michelangelo can make or break certain scenes in Ninja Turtles, and I think, like I said, it's because I think I've gotten older, so some of the stuff I feel like it's kind of, I don't want to say cringy, but I feel like some of it's kind of forced, but I felt like what they did with Michelangelo in this was so good. Like, they did a good job with the jokes. It was very tastefully, because sometimes Mikey, like, think about the first Michael Bay movie. Michelangelo's jokes, they got, like, way, way too over top. And they got to the point where it was just like, oh, my God, like, because he had such a hard-on after April. It just got weird after a while.
It's this representation of Michelangelo is close to the IDW, because I think the problem that writers have with that character sometimes is they write him as a pure comic relief. And he is a comic relief to a degree, but like with the IDW and this one, he's also very childlike, and that's like his biggest strength and his biggest flaw, because even in the IDW, like, he's very sensitive. There's a scene in the IDW that reminds me of this, I'll tell you, where Michelangelo, he makes a friend in it, and it's this guy who gives him pizzas, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, their worlds cross over, and that guy gets viciously assaulted by another mutant. I don't remember the details. I'm going to reread this shit after this show, and maybe I'll talk a little about it our next episode.
Yeah.
But, viciously gets assaulted, and the guy terminates the friendship with Michelangelo. And he's very deeply hurt by it.
Damn.
Like, the dude didn't care he was a turtle, but because he brought him into his world, and it just shows how sensitive he is, and you see moments of that in this film.
Yeah, you really do.
Yeah, so Michelangelo, that's the problem with him. You cannot write him as a pure, at least to me, you cannot write him as a pure comic relief.
Yeah, he's got to be more than just one-liners. I think that's what I was looking for, because a lot of shows and stuff like that, when they show Michelangelo, sometimes he's like a little bit too much one-liners.
I also, we were talking about earlier, I also think they did a good job with him in the 2002 series. And I think I haven't seen much of the CG one. I liked what I saw. I know it's all on Hulu. I think I should watch those, but they did a good job with him, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, and one of the things I also added in there that I really liked was Batman drinking out of a Superman coffee cup.
Oh yeah.
I really like that. I'm trying to look at some of my other notes here. Let's see. I wrote favorite character moments. I loved Robin with Michelangelo and Raphael. I thought they had a really good chemistry. I like the fact that Batman wasn't the best at everything.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, he had a hard time with the fight with Shredder
Yeah.
at the end. I mean, Shredder almost kicked his ass, and I like that. I like that fight because they're equals essentially.
Mm-hmm.
The villain choice too, because I believe it's the same in the comic with Ra's al Ghul. That makes the most sense.
It did. It really did.
I don't think Joker's in the original comic series though.
Well, yeah, I could see him not being in it because this goes into. I'm gonna go into the one thing I didn't like about it.
Okay, go ahead.
I liked Joker being thrown in there. I mean, it's Batman. It's most people that watch Batman expect to see Joker in some shape or form. So,
Right.
it was cool they added him in there. I liked the Arkham scene where you saw all the different villains and stuff, but I absolutely thought that the show's like grittiness and momentum dropped down when all the villains turned into animals and they all had those fights.
Oh yeah.
Like, to me, I watched that and I almost had flashbacks of the 80s cartoon. I'm like, they're trying to sell action figures. That's what that's what it felt like. It felt really out of place. Because, the beginning, you have the Turtles versus the Penguin. It made sense because, Penguin's trying to put a heist and trying to break into this warehouse. Then you have, Ra's al Ghul. That makes sense to him with Shredder. And then, Joker. Okay, Joker's going to be thrown in there. And, you had a little bit of Easter eggs of Two-Face, Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, because they're in Arkham Asylum. That makes sense to see those characters. But when they all bust out and they're all like, oh, I'm Mr. Freeze, but I'm a polar bear, and, I'm Two-Face, but I'm a hyena on one side and a wolf on the other, or whatever it was. It was just, that part got really cringy a little bit.
A little bit, but it didn't break the movie, though.
No, it didn't. And I mean, it wasn't that long. I feel like that was like the second to last scene was them, of course, because then, Batman gets the Joker serum or whatever and turns into mutant Man-Bat for a little bit.
Yeah, but hey, they have to throw in the mutations though.
Yeah.
I kind of get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's overall though, I think the movie, what do you think of the end credit scene with Joker Shredder?
Oh, I saw, I knew it was something like that was going to happen. When the whole building crashed down, I'm like, oh, they're going to show the end with Shredder's hand coming out of the rubble. Like, they're going to do that. But then when I saw him fall into the chemicals, I'm like, what's going on with this? And then, of course, now we have Joker Shredder. I don't know what I don't know what they're going to do with that. I mean, I it's going to be. I don't think they're going to make a sequel, but if they were to make a sequel and have a Joker Shredder, that's really interesting.
They probably will make a sequel. I bet you they will, because this is a pretty popular. I mean, they made a sequel in the comic books, so
yeah.
So, because from what I understand, in the original comic, everything's in Gotham, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know, from what I know of the sequel, this is as much as I know. They go to the Ninja Turtles world. So, like, it would be interesting to see, Batman and them interact with, like, April and Casey Jones and all those. And
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see Casey Jones, like, first interaction when Batman's, like, trying to kick his ass. Like, thinking he's, like, some bad guy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, yeah, it was a good movie. I mean, we've gotten it's not, for whatever reason, it's not part of the DC Universe films.
Yeah,
but it's up there with them.
Yeah, I will say this: I liked this movie better than any Marvel movies I've seen in quite some time.
That's not hard to do. That's not hard to do.
I was like, man, this is so fucking good.
It's funny. I don't mention Marvel movies in our private chat because it's a kind of a sensitive topic for certain people.
Mm-hmm.
Because certain friends we have were blown away by Endgame, and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Look, let me say this. The Marvel movies, you know what? You said that Michelangelo gets written as a comic relief, right?
Yeah.
You know what my problem? And I know some people are going to call me bullshit, but this is a fucking fact. You can agree.
Yeah.
The Marvel movies writes every Marvel character as a comic relief.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's my problem. They're always spewing one-liners. It's like, these aren't the Marvel characters I grew up with. It's Thor saying something funny or something stupid shit like Thor seeing Hulk's dick and everyone thinking that's... What the fuck? And yes, that's in an actual movie, Xander.
Oh, God.
I'm not... Yeah, it's in Thor Ragnarok. Thor sees Hulk naked and he stares at his dong.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is why... And I don't understand why they're so popular, because they are so bad.
I mean, I don't understand it either, because like there's tons of problems I have with the Marvel movies, and that's when I watch a lot of the animated DC movies, or I watch like this right here, Batman versus TMNT, and I know a lot of folks they're like, oh, it's a cartoon, I'm just not gonna watch it. It might be like too kiddie. But I'm going to go see a Marvel movie. I'm like, either way, you're watching superheroes. You're a grown adult watching superheroes.
It's sad because those DC Universe animated films are so better written and so better, much more mature, and captures the characters better than any of those Marvel films.
Yeah, like freaking watch Red Hood.
Oh, Xander,
so good.
Recommendation. At least try the 7-day. Get DC Universe.
Okay.
Try the 7-day.
All right.
It's $8 a month. Pretty much all but like maybe 2 of the DC Universe, the R-rated ones, the Justice League Dark and the Killing Joke, are on there, and they add them as they come out to DC Universe.
Oh, nice.
So we have the adaptation of Batman Hush coming out.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I think on the 20th, which is in a few days, and that will appear on DC Universe.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out.
And I will tell you, if you want to watch the best superhero movies that I've seen in a long time, come from last year and this year. It's the 2-part Death and Return of Superman. You have to watch those.
Oh, I have to check those out because I loved the freaking Batman Dark Knight Part 1 and 2.
Oh, they did a good job. And with this one, granted, they changed a lot of the story up, but you should really watch. Hey, we were talking about shows. We should do a DC Universe animated films episode.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Let's work that out after the show, maybe, because we kind of had something else planned.
Yeah.
Maybe. But if you can get DC, at least try the 7-day free trial and watch a couple things if you can.
Yeah, definitely.
Because the other thing about DC Universe is they have... I heard Swamp Thing's awesome. I don't know why they canceled it, but I heard it's awesome. I haven't watched it.
Well, it's funny you mention that because Swamp Thing was actually filmed here. It was actually filmed across the street from where I live.
Oh, I remember you telling me.
Yeah, because I heard like explosions, and I'm like, "What's going on?" They're like, "Oh, we're filming Swamp Thing." It's there. I think they're going to bring it back, but I think it was problems with taxes here in Wilmington and North Carolina. I think it was taxes and money issues. I think that's the reason why it got canceled, but I think they're going to still bring it back, though. But that was a big deal because, we hadn't had a whole lot of movies filmed here or television shows since, probably since Sleepy Hollow. That was filmed here for a little while. But,
nice.
But yeah, hopefully they bring it back. But yeah.
I'll tell you this about DC Universe. They have their original shows like Swamp Thing. I heard the Doom Patrol was good. I watched half of Titans. I don't know why I didn't finish. I got busy at that time. But Titans was really fucking good. They have all of the classic... They have the DC Universe animated series, like Batman the Animated Series, Superman, Justice League. They have all of those on there. We can also watch Lois and Clark, Xander, right on, huh?
Oh, gosh.
Dude, I tried watching... You want to talk about fucking cringe? Although, I will say this. This is one thing I've argued. There's an actor by the name... He's been in tons of shit. John Chia. He's not like a super famous actor, but he's one of those actors you see pop up in a lot of shit.
Yeah.
His Lex Luthor, despite how cringe that show is, his Lex Luthor is probably one of the best ones.
Oh, wow.
His Luthor is really good. I mean, look who they got fucking to play, like in Batman and the Death of Superman.
Mm-hmm.
You know who they got? They got fucking Rainn Wilson, Dwight Schultz from fucking The Office to play him. And I was skeptical of it, but he killed it as Luthor.
I could see that.
Well, Dwight's kind of like... I love The Office.
I do too.
I don't know if you're...
I love
Dwight
The Office.
Dwight is kind of like... like Luther. He has that arrogance.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. But no, give DC Universe a try, and then also at that you get their entire library.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
It's a good service. I think, I like Marvel Unlimited, but the big difference is they had TV shows, and of course they brought one of the best kids shows in a long time, Young Justice. They brought that back for a third season.
Oh wow!
So there you go. I think I made. I'm more not associated with DC Comics, by the way. I just like it a lot, and I'm a DC fanboy. So there you go. Which is not a secret, right?
Oh yeah. Very very apparent. Like with anyone that meets Anthony, you'll find out real quick that he's a big DC fan.
Yeah, DC over. Oh, I love Marvel Comics. Don't get me wrong. I think Marvel Comics were the best from 75 up to maybe the first Civil War, which is the comic book Civil War, which is not very good in my opinion. That's where Marvel's... And then, of course, the Disney still fucked everything, but we won't get into that.
Oh, yeah.
So Batman versus Ninja Turtles, last words. I liked it.
It was awesome. Yeah, I cannot recommend it enough. It's so funny, like, telling people, like I was telling people at work yesterday when I went to work after watching, I'm like, you know what I watched today? It was freaking awesome. They're like, what? I'm like, Batman versus Ninja Turtles. And they're like, what? I'm like, no, listen, watch it. I was like telling one of the stock boys about it because he's like, oh, I saw that. I thought it might have been like really, really kiddie. And I'm like, no, there's blood. He's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, and cussing. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's very dark. I mean, when Leo tells I can't remember if it was I think it was Scarecrow when he told Scarecrow to like leave his brothers the hell alone. I'm like, oh yeah, loved it.
Oh man, that was real good. That was a real good movie. So anything else?
Oh, I did want to mention one other thing. I don't know if you noticed this, but there was even a lesbian breakup in that movie.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
I was like, wow. I was like, this is not a kids show. Like, this is like they're doing like they did so many things to kind of show that it was like this is mature. This is not just a kids show.
Yeah, the DC animated films are. I mean, they're not, and I don't see why they didn't release it under that banner.
Yeah.
So there's that. So yeah, that's kind of my whole thing on that, but. No, it's a real good movie. I recommend it.
Definitely. And yeah, is this going to conclude our episode? I think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got nothing else.
Well, definitely, guys. That are listening, leave a comment below. Tell us some of your favorite moments in Batman versus Ninja Turtles. Because I wrote a couple of notes down, but man, there's so many things I probably missed with some of the moments and Easter eggs and stuff like that. And as always, guys, thanks for listening, and we'll be blasting off to the next episode.